Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and I have a very quick and easy thank you card to share with you guys using elements from the Simon Says Stamp 2016 November card kit. And I started off with one of the pattern papers from the set, and I'm die cutting it with one of Simon Says Stamp's basic rectangle dies. And I chose one of the more solid papers, and then I chose this floral paper, and I'm die cutting it with the largest of the Simon Says Stamp basic rectangle dies. And once I'm done my die cutting, and off camera I ended up die cutting a piece of vellum and another pattern paper, but I'll show that in a minute. So I did that, and then I removed my magnetic plate, and I'm using the multi-purpose platform that comes with a Big Shot. I have it open to tab 1 and then one cutting plate. And then I'm using the embossing folder that comes in the kit with that kind of red color paper, and I'm just moving the paper around to see exactly where I want it to go, because this embossing folder is quite large. It's, I think, maybe 5 by 7. So I moved the paper around until I was happy with it, and then I put the cutting plate on top and ran that through my machine so it would emboss. And I knew it was going to crack because this is thinner paper and the white core would show, and I was okay with that because I wanted to expose it even more. So I'm taking a sanding block and just gently going over all this embossing to make more of the white show up. I'm using a really light touch here. I don't want to rub too hard because one, you'll actually go right through the paper, and two, I kind of want it to be a little more distressed, you know, not perfect. So just rubbing here and there in areas to expose some of the white, plus it smooths out any of the little cracks that occurred. If you want to avoid that, you can spray your paper with a bit of water first. If you have issues with that in embossing folders, it's been a long time. Other than that spiderweb one I used the other day, I've gone years without using embossing folders. They used to be like the thing back in the day. Like, we all went nuts, owned a ton of them, you know, when, I guess, and also, yeah, when die cut machines first were kind of hitting the market, the embossing folders were such a big craze, and I was all about them, and then I just stopped. Anyway, like I said, I die cut a piece of vellum with one of the rectangle dies, and then I die cut another piece of this cool wood grain pattern paper with one of the smaller dies, and then I stamped the word thanks from the Thankful Heart stamp set that comes in the kit, and stamped that with Simon Says Stamp clear embossing ink. And then I'm embossing it with some detail white embossing powder. So I've kind of got all my elements here, or all my layers here, and I wanted to add a couple little things. So I just grabbed some natural string or twine from my stash, and I wrapped that around a few times around this embossed piece of paper. And then I used my reverse tweezers here to hold where I've tied it in place so that I can tie this in a bow, because it's a little bit finicky. So once I've got my bow tied, I can pull the tweezers out of the way, tighten the bow, get it the way I want it, and then I can trim off those ends, and then I'm going to flip this over and apply a couple pieces of tape to the top and bottom on the back of this, just to hold, one, the twine in place, and also to give a little bit of extra stability, because this paper is thinner, it's not like heavyweight cardstock. So put those into place, and then I applied a bunch of foam tape to the back of this before popping this onto the floral pattern paper. And then I adhered the embossed thanks sentiment piece to the vellum with some ATG adhesive. And then I flipped this over and I put another piece of foam tape on the back of this, just hiding it behind that pattern paper so you can't see it through the vellum. And then I'm going to pop that into place. So once that's there, I wanted to add one more little embellishment. So I grabbed the Simon Says Mini Hearts die set, and I just used one of the little scraps of the red pattern paper that I used with the embossing folder. And I just die cut a couple hearts on the end of that set of dies, and I adhered one into place. I just held it with my tweezers and applied a little bit of multimedia matte adhesive, and then pressed that into place by the sentiment. And then for my card base, this is some surf blue cardstock from Simon Says that also came in the kit, and I had cut it in half lengthwise, so I have a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock here that I scored at 5 1/2 with my Teflon bone folder. So it's a top folding A2 sized card. And I apply more ATG adhesive around the edges of my card front and a little bit down the middle, just extra. I'm going to adhere this to my card base, and the whole card front completely covers the card base, so you can't see the color at all, but then when you open the card, it's this pretty blue. This is such a gorgeous color. I love it. So my original intention was to just stamp this sentiment with the Simon Says clear embossing ink, kind of make it more subtle, but I was like, it's a little too subtle. I want it to show up just a bit more. So I used the same detail white embossing powder and just coated the sentiment quickly with that, making sure I didn't have any extra embossing powder hanging around there. And then quickly heat set that with my heat tool until it was all melted. And then I had that second little heart. It was coincidence. I wasn't planning that, but it was like, oh, well, this is perfect. So I had that second little die cut heart. So I just grabbed that, added the adhesive, and adhered it right next to the sentiment. And it's like, it was like meant to be. Like I was really thinking, you know, super smart. But I wasn't. It was just coincidence. So the final little bit, I grabbed my glossy accents and coated the outside, that outside little heart with the glossy accents just to give it that extra shine and dimension. And that finished off my card. So super simple, super easy. I will have links to the kit, to the individual elements if you're interested. All that kind of stuff will be in the description box below the video, along with the pictures and all that kind of stuff. The link to my blog post, all of that info is in the description box below. And I'll also have a video here linked at the end to the actual unboxing of this kit, as well as a previous card I made with last month's kit. So check those out if you're interested. Thank you all so much for watching, subscribing, and thumbs upping my videos. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye.